On a radiant day, where the sun poured its golden light over Charleston, bathing the city in an almost celestial splendor, Lucy Harrison found herself at the window of her imposing residence, lost in deep reflections. The gentle warmth of the noon sun caressed her skin, but the warmth couldn't penetrate the cold that had settled in her heart. Despite being surrounded by all the wealth and comfort money could buy, an immense void consumed her, an abyss that seemed to deepen with each passing day. Where did we lose ourselves, Mark? Lucy murmured to herself, her voice laden with deep melancholy. Her husband's absence, Mark Anderson, had become a painful constant in her life. The sprawling residence meant to be a home of love and laughter echoed only with the sound of silence, a silence so deafening it seemed to scream in her ears. Her eyes wandered over the photographs adorning the living room, each one capturing a moment of frozen happiness in time. Do you remember this trip, Mark, when you said the whole world meant nothing if you couldn't share it with me? The words came out almost as a whisper, as her fingers traced the outlines of the images with a sad delicacy. Those photographs, which once symbolized the joy and love that overflowed in their lives, now seemed mere shadows of a distant past, a cruel reminder of what had been and what she feared would never be again. The breeze entering through the open window brought with it the scent of garden flowers, but not even the sweetness of the floral perfume could sweeten the bitterness that had settled in her heart. I just wish you were here, Mark, that we could try to find our way back to ourselves together. But the words remained unspoken, hanging in the air like leaves carried by the wind, aimless, unanswered. Wrapped in a blanket of memories, Lucy Harrison allowed herself to sink deeper and deeper into the depths of a past that seemed to belong to another life, a life where happiness and love were not just promises, but tangible realities. Sitting on the living room couch, which had once been the stage for so many shared moments, she flipped through an old photo album, each turned page revealing a fragment of that golden time. Lucy never got pregnant, and that left a void that no luxury or comfort could fill, casting a chilly shadow over what should have been the foundation of their marital happiness. This gap between them had become an abyss, a heavy silence weighing on Lucy, suffocating her with doubts and uncertainties. Is there still hope for us, Mark? Can we still find our way back to the love we once swore to each other? Lucy questioned, her voice now nothing more than a desperate whisper, lost in the vastness of her empty room. The silence that followed was her only answer, a silence that spoke volumes, leaving her with more questions than before. Hope, that fragile flame she desperately tried to keep alive, seemed increasingly distant, almost unreachable. Lucy was living in a reflective moment, unsure of what to do about her marriage, and then, on one of those reflective days, her mother came to visit her, and in the comfortable dimness of the kitchen, with the comforting aroma of chamomile tea filling the air, Lucy found a temporary refuge from her internal storms in the presence of her mother, Valerie. Sitting at the wooden table that bore the marks of countless past conversations, mother and daughter shared a rare and precious moment of intimacy. "Mother, I feel so lost," Lucy confessed, cradling the tea mug in her hands for warmth. "It feels like Mark and I are in different worlds now. I don't even know if he still sees me as he used to." Valerie, with the wisdom that only years can bring, held Lucy's hands in hers, offering a safe haven amidst the emotional storm her daughter was facing. "My dear, true love is like a lighthouse in the fog. It may not dissipate the darkness all at once, but it will always guide you back to each other if you're both willing to follow its light." Lucy lifted her eyes, meeting her mother's serene gaze. "But what if that light goes out, Mother? What if it's not enough to fill the void I feel growing inside me every day?" Valerie smiled, a smile that carried as much love as it did melancholy. "Love on its own may not be enough to fill all the voids, but it offers the foundation upon which you can rebuild. It's in adversity that love is tested, and it's through it that it grows stronger. Remember, my daughter, redemption doesn't come without effort. You both will need to walk together, hand in hand, facing the challenges that arise." Valerie's words planted a seed of hope in Lucy's heart, a faint flame of possibility that perhaps, just perhaps, there was a chance for redemption for her marriage, but doubt remained a persistent shadow in her mind. Would the love she and Mark shared be strong enough to overcome the adversities that separated them? Amidst the oppressive silence that dominated the nights in Lucy's house, loneliness became a constant, almost tangible companion, filling the empty spaces left by Mark's emotional absence. The bed, once a sanctuary of intimacy and connection, now felt vast and cold, a cruel reminder of the growing distance between them. Lucy, wrapped in sheets that no longer held the warmth of two bodies, tossed and turned incessantly, seeking in vain the comfort that seemed to have been lost in time. "Mark, we need to talk," she would attempt to initiate, her voice laden with fragile hope on those rare nights when he lay beside her, but the responses were always evasive. "Not now, Lucy. I'm exhausted. Can we talk tomorrow?" Mark would say, turning his back to her, the sound of his breathing soon becoming steady and deep, leaving her alone with her thoughts in the darkness. Lucy's attempts to reignite the connection they once shared seemed doomed to fail. Candlelit dinners prepared with care were met with a "Sorry, love, I'll have to work late," and text messages filled with longing were answered briefly, if at all. Each excuse for Mark, each evasion, only served to dig a deeper chasm between them, a chasm Lucy feared she wouldn't be able to bridge. The emotional distance between Lucy and Mark, once just a crack, had widened into an impassable abyss, with each of Lucy's frustrated attempts to reconnect only widening the gap between their worlds. The loneliness of the nights became a painful reflection of the loneliness that now inhabited her heart, a cold shadow that no warmth could dissipate. Despite all the distance between Lucy and Mark, she chose to give love one more chance, and on that significant day, their wedding anniversary, Lucy had planned every detail with a mix of hope and anxiety. On that fateful night, Lucy found herself sitting alone in a secluded corner of an elegant restaurant, her gaze fixed on the entrance, eagerly awaiting Mark's arrival. The table was meticulously set, with candles casting a soft light over the arrangement of flowers she had chosen so carefully, all planned to celebrate their wedding anniversary in a way that would reignite the flame of love that seemed to be fading as the hours passed. Lucy hopes slowly turned into disappointment. Every couple that entered the restaurant seemed to mock her loneliness, and the wine she drank in small sips only deepened the sense of abandonment. When her phone finally vibrated, Lucy answered with a mixture of relief and apprehension, only to have her worst suspicions confirmed. "Sorry, Lucy. I'm not going to make it on time. Something important came up." Mark's voice sounded distant and evasive, a harbinger of the blow that was about to come. It was then that, as if fate had chosen that exact moment to reveal its cruel irony, Beatrice appeared in the restaurant. Beatrice was a friend of the couple. She worked alongside Mark. Lucy saw her before she noticed, her prominent belly impossible to ignore. The radiant joy on Beatrice's face was a painful contrast to Lucy's broken heart. When Beatrice finally noticed Lucy, her expression turned into a mix of surprise and guilt. "Lucy, I didn't know you'd be here," Beatrice stammered, approaching hesitantly. "Beatrice, can you tell me why Mark hasn't left work yet? Did something happen? Because if you're here, he should have left too, right?" Lucy asked, her voice trembling but demanding the truth. With lowered eyes, Beatrice confessed in a whisper, "I have to tell you something. I didn't know you'd be here, but since you are, I'll tell you right away. I'm pregnant, Lucy, as you can see, and Mark is the father." Lucy's world collapsed in that moment. Mark's betrayal, a man she had loved and trusted unconditionally, along with the loss of a friendship she deeply valued, left her in a state of shock and desolation. "How could you?" Lucy murmured, the words barely managing to escape through trembling lips. "I'm so sorry, Lucy. I never wanted things to come to this point," Beatrice tried to explain, but her words sounded empty to Lucy's ears. In that moment, Lucy realized that the love and loyalty she believed to be unshakable were, in fact, as fragile as the flicker of the candles that now slowly extinguished on the table. She stood up, leaving behind not only the restaurant, but also the fragments of a broken heart, and the innocence of believing that love could be eternal. In that moment of devastation, with Mark and Beatrice's betrayal still burning in her heart, Lucy felt as if the ground had been ripped out from under her feet. The pain was almost unbearable, a mixture of betrayal, loss, and disillusionment. Yet, amidst the emotional chaos, A spark of determination began to burn within her. "I can't let this define me," Lucy whispered to herself, her words a solitary beacon of resolve in a dark night of despair. Lucy went home, called Mark, and told him he didn't need to come back home, that their relationship was over. The days that followed were not easy. Lucy faced each dawn with a mix of resilience and vulnerability. In addition to the end of her relationship, the news of her dismissal came as an unexpected blow, a setback that would have made many crumble. "We regret to inform you that due to internal restructuring, your position no longer exists," her boss announced, his impersonal voice conveying a sentence that felt more like betrayal. Lucy absorbed the words, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. However, instead of allowing herself to sink into desolation, she saw it as a sign for a new direction. "This is not the end for me. It's just a new beginning," she replied, her voice firm, though her heart still heavy. In the days that followed, Lucy embarked on a journey of self-discovery and renewal. She enrolled in online courses, explored new careers, and devoted herself to hobbies she had neglected. Each step was a challenge, but also an opportunity to rebuild her life, piece by piece. In a moment of reflection, Lucy allowed herself to feel proud of her own resilience. "I survived," she said aloud, looking at the reflection of a transformed woman in the mirror. "I am stronger than I thought." Faced with betrayal and adversity, Lucy not only survived, she emerged with a new understanding of herself and what she was capable of. The pain of betrayal and the loss of her job, though devastating, served as catalysts for unexpected personal growth. Lucy was rebuilding her life not as it had been, but as she wanted it to be, with herself in control of her destiny. Meanwhile, Mark continued his life with his mistress Beatrice. One morning, as Lucy walked along the still wet streets from the previous night's rain, lost in thoughts about her new life, a small accident abruptly pulled her out of her reverie. A cyclist, trying to avoid a puddle, lost control and collided lightly with her. The impact was minimal, but the scare was enough to make her heart race. "Oh my God, are you okay?" "I'm so sorry, I really didn't see you," exclaimed the cyclist, rushing to help Lucy regain her balance. He was a man of average height, with expressive eyes that conveyed genuine concern. Lucy, catching her breath, assured him that she was fine. Yes, I'm okay. It was just a scare, nothing serious," she said, trying to downplay the incident. The man, who introduced himself as George, insisted on making it up to her in some way. "Please let me at least buy you a coffee. It would be a way to apologize for the scare I caused," he offered with a gentle smile that Lucy found hard to refuse. Sitting in a nearby cafe, what started as an apology quickly turned into a pleasant conversation full of laughter. George had an easy way of talking, and his kindness and understanding were like a balm to Lucy, who hadn't allowed herself to relax in someone's company for a long time. "You have an incredible way of seeing life, Lucy. Your resilience is inspiring," remarked George, genuinely impressed by the strength she displayed in sharing a bit of her story. Lucy smiled, feeling a lightness she hadn't experienced in a long time. "I think we all have more strength than we imagine, and sometimes it takes a little accident to open our eyes to new possibilities," she replied, raising her coffee cup to this new chapter that was beginning, thanks to a chance encounter that brought George and his unexpected company into her life. Months passed. Lucy, who had lost her job and her relationship, managed to rise again. She got a new job at another company and began to excel, rising through the ranks. After the small accident that brought her and George together, the two developed a beautiful relationship. Lucy believed she would never love again, but fate had other plans, and George proposed to her. On a sunny afternoon, while the scent of freshly bloomed flowers filled the air, Lucy and George exchanged vows of love and commitment under the welcoming shade of an ancient tree in the park where they had their first date. "I promise to love, respect, and support you, Lucy, in all moments, sharing the simplicity and beauty of each day together," said George, looking into Lucy's eyes with a depth that spoke directly to her heart. "George, you've shown me that it's possible to start over and find joy in the little things. I promise to walk beside you, sharing love, laughter, and above all, the simplicity that brought us together," replied Lucy, her voice choked with emotion. Their relationship only grew stronger with time, and then came the discovery of Lucy's pregnancy. A few months later, it was a magical moment that sealed the couple's new beginning. "We're going to be parents," she whispered, tears of joy shining in her eyes as she showed George the positive test. "I can think of a greater adventure than this," he replied, embracing her with all the love and excitement he felt. George and Lucy had a beautiful baby named Brian, and they became a happy family. Years later, on an ordinary day, Mark appeared at Lucy's door, a man visibly changed by life and the choices he had made. "Lucy, I realize how much I've messed up. I was hoping that maybe we could try again. Beatrice only wanted my money, and I found out too late," he said, hesitant, hope faintly shining in his eyes. Lucy, now a fulfilled and radiant woman, surrounded by the love of George and the infectious laughter of their son, Brian, looked at Mark with mature kindness. "Mark, I wish you all the best, but my life now is here with George and our son. I've found a happiness I never imagined possible. I hope you find yours too," she said, with a sincerity that left no room for doubt. Mark, realizing the truth in Lucy's words and the life she had built away from the shadows of the past, nodded slowly. "I'm happy for you, Lucy. Truly," he said before turning and leaving behind the woman he had loved and the life they could have had together. Lucy, turning to George and their son, felt a wave of gratitude and love. She had indeed started anew, building the family and love she had always wished for, a life filled with simplicity, joy, and contentment. Want access to more stories like this? Click the link in the pinned comment below and find out how. Until the next story, storytelling friends. If you enjoyed it, show your support with a like and subscribe for more exciting tales. Thank you.